Thursday evening here in Chico. It's Christmas Eve, the 24th of December. I wish to give credit where credit is due in science. It's quite an adversarial situation if you're a certain kind of science because there is an entrenched group. It's kind of like politics. So we're supposed to be having fun, and I think mostly we are. It does get intense, though, because a lot is at stake to a certain frame of mind. That we really do want the truth, and we're not really willing to settle for less. I'm looking around for my tie clip. Oh, here. It's already on my... Look at that. This is a double Windsor knot. I learned it from a man who spoke most excellent British English, which I always love to hear. And he did quite a good job. If I could do it, he certainly did a good job. So that's a double Windsor knot. I'm not sure this is the right shirt for it. I couldn't actually button it without... Well, you know what? Let's do an experiment. This is for the kids, so you can learn what it's going to be like when you get older, if you're a boy, although these days you might be doing this as a girl, especially if you're in a chorus lineup in Las Vegas. They'll do anything. Don't go there. All right. So we want to give credit where credit is due to a fantastic presenter. This man is top-notch. Dr. Alexander Unzicker of Deutschland, Germany. And he has another presenter who runs pretty much along the same trails that he does. But her name is Sabine Hossenfelder, and Dr. Unzicker recently gave a brief presentation on what he thought was right and wrong with Dr. Hossenfelder's presentation of dark matter. Believe that was the topic. I didn't really care because there's obviously something between them. And I don't take sides in these things because I'm completely outside the loop. I have nothing to do with Dr. Hossenfelder or with Dr. Unzicker, except in the most abstract, exalted way. I include myself among the top level of scientists all around the world throughout time who have actually pursued the truth of the universe, which is the only definition of science. And you can take it from me. I've given 810 video presentations over the past 30 months on exactly that topic and nothing else. I only deal with truth. And Dr. Hossenfelder and Dr. Unzicker, for all their worth, which is tons of gold, they're heroic in my eyes. I love these two people. What they're doing is so critical. So what is my criticism? None. I don't have any criticism. In science, though, you have to, at some time, perhaps get into the arena. And by arena, I mean you have something to say. Now, most often when this occurs in a scientist's life, it's in the context of their job that they have something they want to push through, a paper, in order to get recognition to further their career. And I believe Dr. Unzicker and Dr. Hossenfelder, at least in part, perhaps unconsciously, address that crowd. I simply don't. I have nothing to do with academia. I consider it to be the problem in a certain aspect, because the problem that exists in science now is essentially the problem that has always existed in science. It's most natural. What is this sense of competition, of conflict, of controversy, of debate, of animosity, of hatred? How does it go so far? It's when the stakes are high. And here's how I'd like to introduce our Christmas topic for today, which again should not be brief, but I do tend to go on if I think I'm in the right vein. It's like searching for gold. I've had a lot of practice at this, and I'm starting to get a little bit better, even to the extent of learning how to tie a double Windsor knot tie. It took me about an hour under the direction of this amazing-looking Italian model. You know, I'm not that way. I always wasn't sexual, but, you know, we're all the same. And I was glad that he was as good-looking as he was. I'll just put it that way. Because when you're learning how to tie a tie, it's kind of intimate, you know. You know, buddy with your teacher. Well, it can't go that far with me because I've already gone so far over the hill at the age of 70. I don't even think about that. Well, of course I do. You know, there's two sides to us, and this goes into science as well. What a perfect seg. I finally learned how to pronounce that word right. If you've been saying segue all these years, oh my God. Oh, you're in for some embarrassment. It's pronounced seg, of course. It's obvious. Alrighty then, no, stories for another time, but this is Christmas. We do want to be lighthearted. I'm always lighthearted here because my major goal is fun. My currency is fun. I don't never ask for money. I don't want anything to do with money. I never said that too often throughout my life, but a lot of people noticed I really just don't care about money at all. Well, you can say it's dangerous, but somehow the Lord or heaven or however you say it in your religion or philosophy or lack of any intelligence at all, I do give thanks for that which I feel gratitude for, and I don't see what on earth to thank. So I'm thanking heaven, you know what I mean? The universe, if you're a scientist, you don't have to say God. You never have to say God. It's undefined, so you shouldn't. But there is a creative design intelligence. That is strict logic. Science begins on that premise, and that's where we're going to begin today. As we go into just a little bit of review of Dr. Unzicker's amazing work. I own one of his books, and here I'm just going to read this through so I won't keep telling stories about my tie or anything else. On Christmas Day, having composed the final crib sheet for my formal presentation campaign series in 2025, this is where I'm at, yeah, I visited my old friend Alexander Unzicker to see what he had to say. I really liked this guy's presentation style, and I'll get into that. That's what I wrote this for. So I hope you enjoy my tribute to one of the greatest scientists of our day. I really think Unzicker is in a class by himself. I have seen him stand up to such notables, emperors, so to speak, whether they're wearing clothes or not, as a guy named Witt, who's a Nobel Prize winner, and after giving a presentation to all these carefully selected physicists, of whom Dr. Unzicker is one, I don't know how many such invitations he'll get in the future, but I got to see him after Witt. This is one of the princes. He's a reigning monarch in physics. He won a Nobel Prize in an area where everybody is staring because it's money, 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 money. Because these are parasitic and predatory creatures. They prey really on the system. They're just trying to latch on like a leech to the system. And so they fight for space. I don't think they're, you don't like to hear about violence or, anger or rage, but it does occur. And it rarely goes to murder. Rarely goes to murder. I think we can say that safely, but it has been known to happen. All right, but that's because people are diverse, not because science is somehow fostering evil. But it does raise the blood pressure. And so I stay away from academic science because, there's several reasons. And I won't go into them now because this is Christmas. I've gone into it perhaps in a little bit too much in the past, but so is Dr. Unzicker, so is Dr. Hassenfelder, so do they all. So I have something in common with them. You know what it is? We're human scientists. And we're all the same that way because we're human. But are we all the same as scientists? Not at all. That's where survival of the fittest does come into play. It's in the arena of human mentality. And you mark my words on this, although I won't go into it now, I have in the past. That is the only known form of evolution on Earth. Every other form of evolution, including biological evolution, of course, has been disproved. So if you don't like that, this is where we begin. You will be defeated because when a scientist knows that he's right, he always is. And there's a big fat loophole in that, isn't there? Not if you're one of the ones at the top, such as myself, Dr. Unzicker, I'll even say Dr. Hassenfelder, although she really is kind of a predator. And Dr. Unzicker noticed that. So without getting into anything that could lead to emotionality, I love these people. I love all scientists. It's on a spectrum, though, because they're human and they're involved in strange situations, such as academia, yeah. The science industry that includes guys like Witt. And, I could name... I've named these names so many times, but so is Dr. Unzicker. So I'm just going to read this so we can get through this and get on to Christmas. This is Christmas Eve for me as well, but this is what I love to do. And let's start. I visited my old friend Alexander to see what he had to say. Thus, AE is humbly proud to announce that Drake Sterling, which is my, I don't want to say spy name because I was never officially a spy, but it is my other name should I want to use it, and I've used it quite a bit over the decades. I could tell a story, I should, where I learned that word. It actually is a kind of sterling silverware set. So sterling, if you say Drake Sterling to someone who knows a lot about silver, they'll go, oh, yeah, I know where you can get one of those Drake Sterling sets. But I learned the name from my father, who learned it from one of his best friends, who was kind of a roadie businessman, but he had a fine home in the same area as we did, so he was doing well. And he was a jolly man. We kids loved him. We used to bounce, my sisters used to bounce on his stomach. And, I could say more, but he came up with the name Drake Sterling because when he was on the road, he was kind of like some other men that I've heard of, who, when they're away from their wife, they forget about their wife because they need sex. Well, I wasn't raised that way. Neither I nor my father went that way at all. He and myself, my father and I, are monogamous. It's just as simple as that. But most American males, according to a certain stereotype, are not. I, in my own experience, reluctantly and disgustedly have to say that not as many men as I thought are of that frame of mind, because the times they are a-changin'. Have they changed so much? I'm not sure. AE is humbly proud to announce that Drake Sterling, oh, I forgot to tell you the story. Why did he use that name? It's so he could check into motel. You probably already guessed. So when he checks into motel with some bimbo, I don't know if that's a foul word or not, I just use it. It's just a word for a woman who might assent to that. And when he had one of these women, he would check in to whatever hovel, roadside, fucking, choking on that eggnog. Now I've been off of beer for a number of days, which has really improved my temperament. If you live alone, you may come to rely on beer at certain phases. Mine's lasted about 16 years, but at least for a few days I've been off it. But it's done me well. I know I've worn out my body. I'll probably die early. Well, Drake Sterling emerges now upon the science circuit, both as the successor of Euclid, Newton, Einstein, and Dirac. I just decided that recently, because I'm gearing up, yes, and as a bona fide licensed troll, which I've capitalized because I was trying to be a troll. We're getting there. And if Alexander Unzicker ever somehow watches this video, this is not only a tribute to you, sir, mein Herr, but it's also an apology once you see what I did. Although I'm only saying that formally, I'll bet that Dr. Unzicker laughs. And if you're watching this, I hope you did, because I thought it was hilarious. I've never trolled before. You know, every now and then you sneak in a comment that, you know, because that's what comments are for, because it's not part of the science presentation. It's reactions from the audience. Well, these are beneficial for the presenter. And if it's a little bit controversial, that generates more comments. I got 9 replies. Or I think I got 6 or 7 replies to my 9 purposely, innuendo-like provocative, but they all knew what I was doing, and well, how dare you? But it was poetic. It was brief. It was pithy. I wasn't out of line. So, Dr. Unzicker, thank you if you did see that and didn't want to, inveigh against me as some kind of troll. Well, there's 2 kinds of trolls, just as there are 2 kinds of scientists. That's what I say. So I looked up variable speed of light in Wikipedia. Because I've read Dr. Unzicker's book and some of his other material, and I've seen a lot of his videos because he's extraordinarily good. And I'll go on to tell you in this brief essay just exactly why I think that he's top of the list. I think he's top of the list. I used to think Dr. Sabina Hassenfelder was top of the list, but those were in my younger months, on the order of 2 years ago, when I was just starting to notice that you can really learn a crap load from video. And Hassenfelder really caught my interest, and I very nearly bought her book, which is a bestseller, and for good reason from everything I've heard. She's extraordinary, but lately she's declined. Because it happens with any performer, you start to run out of material. And Unzicker's facing that challenge now, too. He's doing it gracefully enough. I've thought about it. There are times when you're just at an ebb. You really... Because you have human cycles, and you just things happen that you just are tired of it, or you just need a break, and your body's telling and pretty soon your content just goes down, and people he doesn't have it anymore. That can change. Anyway, I've never succumbed to that, but I was tempted, and I'll leave it at that. I am human, so there's more to say, but I won't say it because it's just a minor bit of extra information, which would put me on the same lower level as I'm placing others, either by implication or directly. That's not what I'm doing. But when I give compliments, those are sincere. Those you can take to the bank. I don't compliment scientists very often. I used to, because I was hoi polloi scientist, and not anymore. I'm not. So I'm going to keep reading here, but I want to get ready, make sure that I can scroll when the time comes. All right. Let's read through this. The Wikipedia article on variable speed of light, and you'll see why this is important in a second. It's a feature of a family of hypotheses, according to the Wikipedia article. It's set against general relativity, which is considered to be against also as well classical physics. So the variable speed of light is the underdog. And this is what Alexander lists in his own profile as his main interest, and I believe it is his main interest, because, man, does he know everything about it. It's a very enticing thing, and I have to say thing, because variable speed of light theory is a feature, it's not even a thing, of a family of hypotheses. So it sounds like it's a lot of different things. Well, Wikipedia brings this out by pointing out immediately in their opening paragraphs, which can be quite dense, that it is antithetical to general relativity, and thereby is also antithetical to classical physics. Well, that's of course only one side of the story, or there wouldn't be such a theory, and there certainly wouldn't be an advocate of it of the stature of Dr. Alexander Unzicker. So I read his book, Einstein's Lost Keys, which talks about it. And I wish to speak with Dr. Unzicker. And that's why I trolled the comments, is so that he would notice and hopefully laugh. I believe he knows who I am, because I've made several laudatory comments about his work, and at least once he replied. So I know, in some sense, he knows that I exist, and that I like him, which I certainly do, but I want to talk with him for strictly my own reasons. And this man is so far outside of my scope, I'm really barking at the wind, but, at the very top, I'm a newcomer, but I'm saying this now because I have to produce my paper, and then I'll have to defend it. So I am getting ready. All right, that's enough of me. So, as well as variable speed of light theory being a feature of a family of hypotheses, oh man, it's not simple. It's antithetical to general relativity, but not to local reference frame variability, which is built into certain alternate theories of gravitation and cosmology. Now, I've learned not to click on these links because I end up going down a rabbit hole almost every time. So I'm not going to go into that, but that's really the end of the article, except for 90% of it and all the links. So it's not easy to answer the question of what is variable speed of light. And in fact, I never did find in Unzicker's book or in any of his statements that he is sure what that means either. And I don't see how anybody could be, because the speed of light, how could you even know if it were variable? And what difference would it make if you did? Because obviously it would be under the most extraordinary circumstances, would it not? It's not that easy, and I do have the answer. Although I can't state it. Because the variable speed of light, I'd never heard of such a thing, and I'm still thinking about it, because the number itself is not a variable kind of number. In a way, it's constant. But you see what makes that so strange is, it's a constant proportion. It's a constant two-component number. It's distance over time. Let us never forget that. That, as I proved, is really at the heart of my discovery. That's in a different number system, which is purely relational. Although it's perfectly computable according to linear logic, so which is extremely important. These are linear numbers that are in relation, and that makes light speed. One of the numbers is the distance, and the other number is the amount of time, which is saying something peculiar already. But when you put them together to make light speed, you don't need to say that it's constant. There's really, you could, but what do you mean by that? Because the numbers can change, but the relationship never changes. So what I would say would be a theory of the variable speed of light is if you can show that the relationship changes between the two quantities. And that's as far as I've gotten with this rather baffling, because what would it mean if light speed were variable? I'll just tell you up front, although I'll be giving lectures on this, is that I don't believe that's the right framework to even address what light speed is. Whether it's variable speed or not is really almost misleading, but I can't say more at this time. I am working on that. I consider that there's a reason I follow Dr. Unzicker. Not all of us know everything, but a lot of us know more than others. So I never look down on like, well, this doesn't match what I know. I'm not saying that I know everything. I am saying that I've made some discoveries. So that's why I trolled. I guess it's official now. I'm a troll. Well, it'll never happen again. Or if it does, it'll be after careful planning. Because I just woke up on the wrong side of the dumpster this morning. Because I didn't have my usual beer for the past couple of days, I guess. And so I know I get cranky when I give up beer. I do it regularly. Or I'd probably be dead by now. So again, enough of me. Let's go on. So this is the introduction to Unzicker's point of view on variable speed of light. Alexander Unzicker is a respected frontline research analyst. He's the best. His YouTube channel has hosted Martín López Corredera, who is the greatest astrophysicist alive today. And if I loved Dr. Unzicker, Platonic, let's not forget, I didn't fall for the Italian model, I'm not going to fall for Alex. And I'm sure he wouldn't fall for me. Or if he did, he'd regret it because I have nothing left, okay? Should have caught me 30 years ago, just anybody who's curious. Okay. Oh, I'm in a jolly mood. Let's go on. As well as several other highly reputed scientists, but we want to keep this brief. Scroll up here, get a little more of my fantastic piece of prose here. Have I got that centered? I didn't do this very well. Sorry about that. But here we have a good chunk. His format is intensive. It has to be, okay? If he can stand on the toes of Ed Witt and make the man cry, I'm close to adulation. He's fearless, absolutely courageous. I'm serious. Bravery such as one rarely sees. But well, we're getting there. He's always right, too. He's also cautious. He knows what he's talking about. It's just that this is the cutting edge where nobody is really sure of anything. Well, that's the essence of bravery if you're doing that in science. Oh, he's the greatest. I really like him. Although I did troll his commentators this morning and issued 9 replies to just comments that I just thought were just, they weren't even listening, or they just had something stupid to say, and I just let them have it. Although not I wasn't attacking. I was just being a troll. And trolls can be good trolls. Oh, I thought I was a pretty good troll, but still a troll. That's demeaning. So he's written several good books. He covers a surprising range of cutting-edge problems in physics. I strongly recommend any of his books. But as you'll see, you might want to catch up, because the list here, he's written more books than I've shown here, I think. I've been very busy, so I can't keep up with the people I'd like to keep up with. I don't have time, because I work pretty much around the clock. I have been for 3 years. That's absolute. I work harder at what I do than I ever worked at a paying job. All right. So I own his book, Einstein's Lost Keys. The book is accessible, that is open to a lay reader if you're serious. You do have to be serious to get into it's cutting edge, so it's going to be technical. But it doesn't mean you need to take 4 years of calculus. It never hurts, I suppose. I know how to use the calculus, but not from university training. Well, there's a confession. A stupid troll. Well, an uneducated troll. We won't talk about that. The book is accessible without losing the edge. He's a good writer. Some of his books and articles can be found at beyondmainstream.org. If you wish, you can find. Well, there's more up-to-date ones. I just saw this and just started cutting and pasting. And articles, you can see there's some articles listed here. I'll read them. Why Space and Time Are an Illusion, A Brief History of Quantum Gravity, Can Dimensional Constants Have a Fundamental Meaning, and Mach's Principle Relating Gravity to the Universe. The first one is the only one that I found questionable in terms of a title. Space and time are an illusion? I'm not sure what he means by that. I haven't read that book. But I'm sure he has something cogent to say, because he never fails. That's valuable to someone in my position. You need to be able to trust your sources in this world of science. AE does not generally approve of a bankrupting platform, because that's a play on one of the titles of his book, Bankrupting Physics, so he's the one who used the word. Well, I don't really... It's not that I don't condone it, but it certainly would have to be done just right to be effective. With Dr. Unzicker, it is. It's fabulous. It's just what a scientist like me likes to see for entertainment. Is a really good scientist correcting things. It's not that you appreciate seeing other people taken down, but he's unafraid of doing that. I am. Although I have indulged in it too, I'm not comfortable doing that. Because you always regret it later. Don't ever be critical if you can avoid it. The whole essence of being a scientist, in my opinion, is to present yourself as the best human being you can be. Because you're representing knowledge of the universe. You're kind of a priest. Come on. I am a priest. That's how I handle being a scientist. I used to be a priest. But again, not about me. This is about a real scientist. I know, but I think I'm real too, but I'm giving him tribute. This is not about me. Okay, let's go on. It kind of always is, though, because of the situation I'm in. I am going to be a scientist. Just like in The Right Stuff, that intern said, I think you're going to be an astronaut. I think you're going to make it. Well, I am too. Not to go to the moon, though. No. All right. So, although I don't approve of that, someone must do it. It's a very important monitoring function. It's kind of sad that the system is impervious to that. Oh, they're absolutely impregnable. Although I've got to believe that Alex has an effect. You have to believe. Because we are talking about a human situation when money is involved. Oh my God, logic goes out the window. Well, if it goes on long enough, you end up with a modeling system that's backed by a cartel that defends itself. It won't let anybody consider any other theories except their own, and they have the money, the clout, they have the voice, they have the platform, they have the support from the government. You're not going to penetrate that armor. And yet we must try for the sake of truth. It's real. I know it sounds like I'm running for office. For the sake of truth, my people. Anyway, I'm not running for office, but I kind of am, aren't I? I'm a discoverer, so I'm running for the office of I am a discoverer. So far, it's just I am. That doesn't count. So I need somebody to help me. I want Dr. Unzicker to help me. I want him to interview me. Just informally, not on the camera, and then see what he thinks. I'll bet that he would interview me. Or he might not. He might just give up and just, we'll start an institute together in Belgium. And let's not go there. He is somewhat jealous of Dr. Sabina, a fellow German physicist on the lucrative YouTube circuit. She does approximately what he does, and he doesn't appreciate that. He thinks that she's cheap. And I'm not going to give my opinion on that. I don't care about that. But I am giving a comment. That is a tribute. Now, there is no question that these reporters are sincere and professional. They are. I don't think they're underhanded at all. But it could appear that way if you go a little too far, and there's a weird, crooked line that, you offended me, how dare you. These days, that actually is a major problem. Others on the circuit are not so disciplined, such as some people I could name. To be sincere and professional, and onto something good, is a fairly tall order. It's hard enough to be sincere and professional at the same time if you're dealing with cutting-edge science, because it's highly emotive. So it's a tall order to ask for the man to produce something like a solution. I demand it. If you don't have a solution, I will let you know that you have no solution, because that's where it begins. The rest is hot air. Not completely, though. We're looking for guidance in where to focus, so we can to break the logjam, to fix this. We have to fix it. That's a tall order. I believe I have, to put it extremely mildly, a major contribution. Actually, a whole list. I just gave 2 lectures on it. To sum my work over the past 3 years, which has gone over the goalposts, out of the stadium. It's just to the moon. It's just too much for one man to handle sometimes. That's why we have beer. And then you have to stop beer sometimes, like around Christmas time, to recover. And that's why you see me with a double Windsor knot right now, looking fairly presentable and holding down my voice for once. All right. To be just sincere and professional is, of course, good. But the third aptitude is not good at all, because, of course, it will conflict with the current propaganda. In other words, it's dangerous. It's not that it's not good. It's that it's not good for you. It's not good for me. Ultimately, it may or may not be good for Alexander. But we have to do it. We feel compelled to confront the system because it is a valid function. It's quite necessary now. But it's going to be resisted, I'm tempted to say, to the death. This just cannot be accepted. There must not be progress. That's the whole problem, is no progress in finding out what science wants to know. So these are deadly serious to a certain strain of man. All right. To be just, okay, but it'll conflict with the propaganda. It's hard to swallow. What I mean by that is, it's just hard to face. There's all kinds of conflicting emotions about this adversarial situation we're in. For the best of reasons, it almost sounds like politics. Well, of course, I don't like that, but I understand it. So, I'm just going to extend this a little so you can see it better. If this thing will do what I... Oh, okay, there we go. At least you can see it all. Let's extend it and cover my pretty face and finish this up. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that I'm not doing this very well. It's hard to swallow. My purpose, however, does not include persuading you of anything outside of formal logic. Unzicker stays very much on the formal logic and formal proof system that is the very bedrock of science. This is my highest compliment, except a solution. Where very few of us get to approach, let alone make a discovery, okay? But we're all trying, and it is somewhat competitive. All right. Unzicker stays on the right side of the street. In this sense, I consider him a hero because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to your own sense of values to keep doing that. He seems to be perfectly apt. I'd never see him lose equilibrium. That's enough there. I admire him without reservation, which is taking a risk in itself for me to say that. Because now I'm siding with him. And it sounds like, well, he's siding with Unzicker because Unzicker hates the system. I do say it. Yet I have nothing to offset his acumen. I have no other stories like, well, there is this thing about him. I have nothing to offset his acumen, which is both severe and recht, as the Germans say. He is right, or at least I've never found him wrong. His insights are extraordinary, and again they point in the right direction. That's the service of someone like Unzicker, and indeed myself, and Dr. Sabine. We're all doing the same thing at slightly different levels and slightly different postures for slightly different reasons, but that's what unites us. We're willing to take a risk to make progress. It has to be done, or there won't be any progress. The system is locked down. All right. His insights are extraordinary, and again, they point in the right direction. That's quite uncommon. So to have such scope and intensity and courage with bravery and still be steering the ship correctly is most welcome. It's needed, sorely needed. His recent pillorying of Hassenfelder is old hat to Alex. In other words, it's not a vendetta. He just saw another typical target because she represents something he detests. In this case, duplicity. It's interesting. All right, well, let's go on. He means no harm, nor should expect any to be taken. I would expect that Dr. Sabina would laugh the same way I expect that Dr. Unzicker would likely laugh to know that I trolled his commenters this morning. But, you know, we're all kind of in this together as humans. You gotta give a little, you know. You gotta roll with a punch and come up smiling. Just learn to duck and weave. Be diplomatic. Always be at your best. Try not to get emotional. Good luck on that. He's good at it, and he is always right. There's a small tax to pay on being so right so often. The price is that you cannot fully commit to a solution. In other words, he doesn't really recommend anything. What he's doing as a good researcher is unearthing some facts about general relativity and quantum mechanics and variable light speed, which is his pet. He thinks that these facts, the way he's discovered all this information is important. I agree, it is important. But he has to walk a balance because there are so many weird theories. And to get back to the heart of some of these models is extraordinarily labyrinthine. So he has never produced a solution, but then that's true of all of us. For the past 100 years, there haven't been any solutions. Relatively, there are, because science still makes progress because we're all trying, so something is happening. But it's just slowed to a standstill. There's something fundamentally wrong. Well, if anyone can figure out what that is, which I claim I have, yes, is really standing tall. I mean, whatever that ends up meaning, but you're standing tall in front of an immovable object. Whatever ends up being true and right will simply be rejected with no chance of it surfacing like through, something in Sweden. It just comes up, these documents, here's the truth. No. No, it's a losing proposition, but we can't help it. So that's heroic. He never produced a solution, but then that's true of us all. Well, we hope not all. I'm the exception. Is there anyone proposing any solution anywhere? Yes, at Anagalactic, AEIOU. My name is Drake Sterling, and I now go under the eponym Euclides because I'm the new Euclid. So if that's all you need to hear in either sense, bon voyage. I'm not trying to talk you into anything. You're here to get the truth. You're in the right place. You're here for anything else? We'll see. Is there anyone proposing any solution anywhere? To answer this question, we must know what the problems are that still beg for some solution. Can it be that no solutions can come for whatever reason? No, that cannot be the case. The universe is rational. That's been proved. Or if you've never seen the proof, I've proved it. Leave a comment. It's not difficult. Therefore, someone somewhere is going to be an idiot. That is, when someone finally gets the solution that just obviates general relativity or destroys the cosmological model, these people are going to have egg on their faces. They're going to have cream pie. They put themselves, they don't have to respond that way, but they will, because it's their livelihood. They're defending their lives. And if they feel that they're being made into an idiot, there will be a war that will not stop until they win, and they will win. It's impossible to defeat the system now. We will try anyway. We can't be stopped. We may all die. Well, then it's a wash. That's actually quite a crew now. That is potential idiots for when something actually is discovered. They will hate it. They will try to drown it, kill it. They'll do anything they can to make sure it doesn't reach the public. It'll be destroyed. If I get too brash, I do not discount mortal threat. What I've discovered goes all the way. I have absolutely no fear. So, of course, I admire Unzicker. He's just like me. Only, of course, I'm a few levels beyond him now, for the simple reason that that's how science is done. I have the solution. He does not. I have a list of about 24 to 36 major discoveries. He has none, except he uncovered some of the work of some of the guys like Dickey and Mach and a few others. His work is valuable. That's not the point. The point is that there's a hierarchy. What he's doing is just bubbling in the water. It's important, but it's not the goal. He's trying to get us toward the goal. I reached the goal. That's what science is for. So this has to go out. That's actually quite a crew of idiots now, grown to a cartel with government money to drive it. He knows it. That actually is dangerous. When you start talking about money You notice that these presenters never talk about how much money they make from YouTube. It's kind of a silent pact. Oh, they all get money. I'm not sure how. Again, because I'll just say it. I hate money. I never have liked money. I just don't. And take that any way you want, but you're not going to talk back to me. That's not a scientific proposition. You can't argue with me. I hate money. You don't like that? Yeah, I could say something from out of the gutters to you. Don't get in my way. Ever. Not now. And I won't get in your way. I never have gotten in anyone's way. Not even implicitly. I'm not against anything. But I'm in favor of the truth. And since I own it now, I have to share it. All right? That's the way it is. So Dr. Unzicker, I'm telling you, I'm near tears here. All right. And I won't read the rest. We do have a fight ahead. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm reaching out for help. I can't reach to Lex Friedman. He's not even part of science. I reached out to Tim Maudlin. He ignored me. I reached out to Ken Wheeler. These are wildly divergent characters. But I've reached out to them in order to pool our effort. Because I must have a platform now. I'll go to Madison Square Gardens after the New Year. Yeah, it is Christmas time, so have a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed at least part of that. This is kind of impromptu. I wanted to apologize to Dr. Unzicker if for any reason he was irritated or inconvenienced in any way by my troll attack on his commenters, who you can check if you want. Every single comment by Drake Sterling is right on. You cannot argue that I am a good troll. Wasn't to hurt. All that, it's not even words. Although thoughts do affect people. Too bad. What are you doing on a science channel listening to my hero and you make a stupid comment such as you just made? Showing such lack of understanding. And I was in a bad mood because I haven't had beer in a couple of days, so it just happens to me. Well, it's unforgivable. So I hope I didn't do it because I meant it well. I think I did well. But it's not ultimately up to me. It's partly up to me. I think I did well. I didn't hurt anybody, but I also didn't contribute much. Okay, so that's what I would have said. Yeah, she didn't contribute much. So Merry Christmas to all. And it's now mid-evening here. It's 7:30 in Chico on the 24th of December. I need say no more. You have your own feelings and thoughts about Christmas, which are probably in your mind. But actually, by the time you see this, Christmas will be over. If you are watching this as it approaches midnight for, Christmas Day to be born at midnight, the way we've conventionalized it, then I don't pity you, but I wonder. I have an excuse. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm perfectly fine just celebrating Christmas with my cat. Beautiful lab cat that I'm getting emotional. You see, I'm recondite. I'm sorry. I don't want to cause any trouble. I think that I'm a hero. Well, I don't want to go too far in that direction either, do I? No. So it's quite a tightrope. All right, thank you for tuning in, and keep looking up. Don't forget to look up. That's your true teacher, the universe. I am just a prophet.